We trust that what she receives here will help her become who God has called her to be.
I love our guardians because they take care of us and love us. After I came here, I gave my life to Jesus, and it was the best moment of my life. I can go to him in prayer whenever I have a problem, and he gives me peace and joy.
When Issy first came here, she cried often. Now she smiles all the time and carries joy wherever she goes. She dedicated herself to learning, and even though she had a lot to catch up on, she's doing very well in school.
I love going to school. It feels good to be here, learning and growing. I also love games and skipping and playing with my friends.
My heart is full of gratitude for the people who support Orphans Promise. If it weren't for your generosity, these children would not be here today. You give them a hope for the future.
Thank you so much for helping me.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as the break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened will have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as the break and recapped every hour for your update.
Fellow Nigerians, how to improve your welfare is of paramount importance to me.
Produced and brought to you in a unique way never before seen.
Western Spring.
Western Spring.
And Western Spring Television. Television is coming home in your color and culture.
Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on Tuesday edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name, and it gives me great pleasure to know that you are there joining us on this program where we look into serious issues, in the nation, and of course, issues of public importance. That is our major concern here about the Nigerian project, in which all of us stakeholders, and then it must prosper. This project will not fail, must not fail, but then if it will and must not fail, we all have a duty, and that is why we are here to talk about those issues, preparing solutions where necessary, analyzing, and of course identifying the challenges so that we forge a way forward. Again, we welcome you. Quite a good night, I must say, and it's been drizzly this morning as well, thank goodness. Thank God for rain. All right. Daniel is here. Good morning, Daniel.
Yeah, good morning, Femi.
Quite night.
Absolutely.
Cold.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Cool night. It was a rainy night, actually.
Yeah.
Just the way I like it. Quite cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Good morning to you, our distinguished viewers. Thank you for joining us once again on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. Here we bring you the best of news and information. And of course, we also dive into matters that shape our nation. Speaking, truth to power, of course, engaging stakeholders and trying to proffer solutions to our problems. as a nation. And that's what we do here every weekday on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. Daniel Emeka is my name. Thank you once again for joining us. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, a cool Tuesday morning.
Right.
It promises to be a great day, and you do not want to miss any part of the program today. Femi.
Yes, and of course, so much to talk about, especially the issue of, in fact, let me say it like this, the Vice President Kashim Shettima at the forum, that was, I think 2 days ago thereabout, spoke about the man Dangote, and when he said, Aliko Dangote is not just an individual, he's an institution. So I think he was trying to talk about the support, having support for him, and when he said him, he meant whatever he represented, and I think that is coming on the heels of the back and forth, between Dangote Petrochemical and refineries, and of course, the Pengasan, DAPMAN, and all of these associations, labor pressure groups, and in which he's trying to say, whatever it we take, let's support our own, let's support the man Dangote. And, but then one thing I feel in that particular statement or speech, and others have been saying, is, I don't know, trying to demonize Pengasan, actually, in a kind of a way, in which some have been saying the extortionists, they're rent seekers, and, people who are just bothered about getting something from the system. Because some will say it's just about the money that they want to take from their members. That's why they want everybody, to be an association member and all of those things. But these persons as well, the Pengasan, all of these other organizations are saying, we stand for the right of our people. And, you cannot say that the association thing, in fact, when the back and forth started, they both agreed that, okay, in labor laws, unionization should be voluntary. And in as much you have workers or drivers or any of those guys working in Dangote refinery and they want to be a member of an association, there should not be any policy from that same company barring them or victimizing them from joining an association. In as much as voluntary, they want to join, so allow them to join. But then, after the back and forth, then the issue of sabotage came up, in which Dangote company said the issue of sabotage is a big issue for them, and there are some persons that have been involved, so they laid off, I think the 800 or thereabout, and they said the entitlement will be perfected and they must go, because they are reorganizing, and Pengasan said, the way we say it around here, the witch cried in the night, the baby died in the morning, and you are saying it's because of sabotage. How come this sabotage only affect your Nigerian worker? You have so many Indian workers. And some are even saying the ratio of foreigners to Nigerians in Dangote refinery is quite abysmal, that the foreigners have a higher percentage of employment there, especially Indians, and all of those things.
Perhaps when you talk about the high-level appointments.
Well, that's what Pengasan said. Okay, and they are saying the sabotage thing, only your Nigerian workers are sabotaging you. The ones that have something to gain, they are the ones sabotaging you. Indians that you have brought on employment as expatriates, all of those, they are not sabotaging. Make it make sense. But then, I think there is a resolution already, so everybody can move on. But the VP is saying Dangote is not just another individual, he's an institution. And whatever is bringing to the table, especially this issue of oil, it deserves to be supported. Some will say yes. Some will say, if Dangote deserves to be supported, every Nigerian business deserves to be
absolutely supported. But you know what, Femi? I've said it here over and over again. Dangote is one man who has done so well for himself, and of course for Nigeria as well. Not long ago, I talked about the deep sea port he's planning, around Ogun State, which will help him, in his exportation business. He's trying to export. The volume of business Dangote is doing, Dangote alone cannot be properly handled by the NPA, Nigerian Port Authority. So you are seeing the need for him to develop a deep sea port. Now, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, Femi, here is one man who was able to construct and start operating the 650,000 barrels per day refinery.
Right.
Something the Nigerian government couldn't do in decades since independence. Okay, we couldn't get our refineries working. We have 3 refineries: Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and which other one again? Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Warri refinery. 3 of them not functioning. Yeah. Exactly. Now, those are the 3 major ones, right? Yeah. Not functioning. Now, one man came up with a 650,000 barrels capacity refinery per day. I mean, that's huge. That's massive. Yeah. So we should support him. I've said it here before. It's not as if I like Dangote or anything, but do we have a better option? Recall that we had Dr. Obele here some time ago, and we were talking about this Dangote refinery stuff. He was trying to say that, that Dangote might have some monopolistic tendencies, that he's trying to capture the markets and all that. But I asked him, do we have a better option? And that's a question I keep asking. Whatever you say, Dangote might not be a saint. I'm not saying Dangote is a saint, but the question is, Femi, do we have better options at this point? He has, of course, he's doing so well in the downstream sector, upstream sector, and these guys are scared that Dangote is chasing a lot of people out of business. He's cutting out middlemen. I'm talking about the 4,000 CNG trucks, that's compressed natural gas trucks, he imported for distribution of fuel. Right. Now, it's going to reduce costs for end users, but the problem is some people will be cut out. Some middlemen will be cut out of the game. I ask again, to whose favor would that be? Right. What will be the effect on the end users? Of course, reduction of prices for end users. And that is what Nigerians really want. So I think Vice President Shettima is right. We should support Dangote, in as much as the federal government has failed in their responsibility, okay, to get public-owned refineries working. If Dangote can do it, then we should support him. That's my point. No matter what you say about him, he's trying to capture the market. I don't care. If he can do it, and we do not have until we get better options. I tell even private individuals, those who are pointing fingers at Dangote, that why not start your own refinery? Dangote is not stopping anyone from competing. That's the point. Go ahead, start your own refinery and do better. But as long as we do not have better options, I think we should support Dangote.
Yeah, and be it Dangote, be it Rabiu Sama, be it Femi Ojo, be it Daniel, every Nigerian business has to be supported. But then the implications of this kind of business and the volume of business that's been done by Dangote, it's quite enormous, especially for the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian people. Granted, number 2 is this: for me, 2 truths can coexist. Dangote and whatever he's doing, especially in the oil sector, you just mentioned the deep port thing, it's not just another business. It has a national significance for Nigeria. So, but then the thing is, if there are concerns about the mode of his business, I think it's right that it should be raised and addressed. There are persons who fear for the monopolistic tendencies, and they have issued out the history, the antecedents of how he plays his business. And, his trade rather, and all of those things. That's number 1, which is relative, by the way. Then number 2 is this: if Dangote, now, the institution has been called, and in the way he's going around his oil sector thing, refinery, unionization, if there are gray areas, I'm not sure it's right to just say, because is the best thing that we can handle for now, let him just do whatever he wants. There are things, if there are things that people are seeing as concerns, it should be addressed. We are supporting, and I'm not sure there is any Nigerian business in the last 20, 30 years that has enjoyed patronage of the Nigerian state, support like Dangote.
Well, we have regulatory agencies, yes, so they should do their job.
No, what I'm saying is this: it's not like Nigerian people. You know how Nigerians came out to support Dangote when the issue of the NMDPRA happened? And it was like some people wanted to kill that business. When I think the boss of NMDPRA then talked about quality, trying to, put a doubt on the quality.
Yeah, the quality, yeah.
Yeah, you see how Nigerians came at him and said, hello, we know what you are doing. And there was the accusation of, some cartels having, I think Dangote said it himself, refinery in Malta, where they just go and bring in things, and that's Nigerians supported him, and they, until that was resolved. So I believe Nigerians will still support. They are still supporting him. But then, if there are gray areas, if there are company operations that are not favorable to Nigeria, it should be addressed.
Absolutely.
The fact that we want to support you doesn't mean you can do anyhow, and that's it. Yeah. There is you talk about regulatory agencies now, they should not stand down. Because
absolutely. And Femi, I don't think
what you are supposed to do.
And Femi, I don't think they're standing down.
And employment and everybody, if there are gray areas, call them to the table. This is the law. This is what you are supposed to be doing. And if the Pengassan or DAPA or the labor guys are the one just trying to cause problem, show them the law, sue who you should sue, call to order who you should call to order. But because we want to support a business, doesn't mean the way they operate, just do whatever we want to do.
Absolutely. You shouldn't break the law. Yeah. And again, Femi, that's why I said we have regulatory agencies, and I don't think they are standing down for him. And Femi, this same Dangote has failed in some areas. Yeah. He said it. He tried banking and he failed. So he has carved a niche. Some
have explained that wherever he's not playing the lead.
Exactly. See, he has carved a niche for himself, and he's doing so well. Okay, right. I once gave an example of one of his businesses on this program. Recall that I talked about Dangote noodles. He came out and he didn't succeed. Simply because we have Duffield who has already captured the market. I mean, all the factors of production.
Why those people were giving now? Those who say wherever is not going to play the lead.
So yeah, what's happened? So when I read the Harvard Business Review for that, Duffield Prima Foods actually captured all the factors of production. So there was nothing Dangote could do to beat Duffield. There was nothing he could do. So he had no choice. Guess what? At the end of the day, he had to sell his plants to Duffield. So he failed in the noodles business. So it's not as if this man is getting everything right. But as far as that niche he has carved for himself is concerned.
Right, that's fine.
As far as the petroleum industry, the refinery is concerned, I'm afraid for you to beat Dangote, you have a lot to do. You have a lot. Talking about cement, talking about the refinery, talking about sugar in Nigeria. Come on. You businessmen, you have a lot to do to beat Dangote.
I'm talking about the support of the Nigerian state. That's why many Nigerians believe, in as much we are supporting you, Nigerians deserve the best from his company. I remember when, not just him, when sugar importation was ceased in Nigeria, I think only 4 companies were given the license to import that, and Dangote is one of them. Rabi Samad of Bua was part of them as well. So he has enjoyed the. Do you know that the CBN gave him the loan, not from commercial banks? CBN gave him part of the loan he used in establishing this thing.
Right. He has enjoyed some concessions. Exactly.
Very high concessions that will not be given to ordinary business. He didn't go to commercial banks. CBN, as an agency of the government, supported him. Actually, although he's paying back, but I'm saying he has enjoyed the patronage of the Nigerian state. Nigerians deserve the best from him. If there are gray areas that should be looked into, we should not throw it away because it's Dangote. The system must be seen to be working. We'll take a quick break right now. So many things to look into. The issue of security is one that should get anybody worried right now. Irrespective of manipulation, irrespective of statistics, irrespective of sentiment, political affiliations, there is an issue. That is the fact. Especially in the north central, in the southwestern part of the country, everybody should be aware. And this is not just raising an unnecessary alarm. It is the reality. We must do something about it. And there are calls, actually, from retired generals in Nigeria to do something very drastic. You get to hear all of that in the course of the program today. But right now, the newspaper are in. Stay with us. All right, we start with the Nation newspaper, The Nation for today. A precedent to oil workers avoid strike that undermines economy. Precedent to oil workers avoid strike that undermines economy. And with 2 riders, we lost 200,000 barrels per day, 1.2 megawatts of power generation. The Pengassan's action. And why Dangote refinery must be protected. Interesting text, yeah. All right. And below that, you have this insight. Dead businesses don't employ workers, says Yusuf. And protesters urge hammer on saboteurs. Protesters urge hammer on saboteurs. And Pengassan versus Dangote. All right, it's looking like a war in which ordinarily should not be led there. And that's why I agree with Daniel when they talk about the regulators. Don't wait till these things degenerate.
Exactly.
And don't just make it to look like you are taking sides already. Because that's one thing. Somebody not being liked, that doesn't mean he doesn't have a point sometimes. Absolutely. And somebody being liked, that doesn't mean the person
doesn't have
cannot be
faults.
wrong.
Exactly.
Exactly. These are the issues. Now, here, how turnout at Secretariat, I take that again, low turnout at Secretariat as Osun Council workers resume after 8-month strike. Low turnout at Secretariat as Osun Council workers resume after 8-month strike. Interesting. Low turnout. And Edun, allocation to state rises by 111%. Allocation to state rises by 111%. Extension of budget to end by 2027. Interesting. Allocation to state rises by 111%. Ordinarily, people should be happy and shout, hooray. But then, does it feel like anything has increased? That's just it. Does it feel? Can anybody say, we are happy now because our state has more money and I'm benefiting?
That's my point exactly. Where are these monies? I asked that question yesterday. Where are these monies going to? Because it doesn't trickled down to the ordinary Nigerian on the streets.
Exactly. And beside that, you have this picture. Honor for Party, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Party, after being conferred with the title of Baraya Yaman Katongo by the Emir of Katongo, His Royal Highness Engineer Salih Muhammad, in the presence of the Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahya. You see the man there. So, congratulations to Professor Party. Moving on, Council of State, Police Council meet Thursday. Council of State, Police Council meet Thursday, and you have a picture there of wages of Pengassan strike, and it sounded like a biblical thing, wages of sin. But this one is wages of Pengassan strike. Nigerians waiting at the filling station around Airport Road in Ikeja, Lagos to buy cooking gas, which became scarce due to disruption of supply caused by all workers strike. And these are the issues. All right, and APC bottom strip, written in red, APC, PDP, LP, ABGA, NNPP, others, shun reps consultative meeting on constitution review.
Why would they shun such a meeting?
Interesting. APC, PDP, LP, ABGA, NNPP, almost all the major parties.
Yeah. So are they not interested? That's the point.
Well, it is what it is. Top Street, local processing, sports, share, revenue growth. Local processing, sports, share, revenue growth. And Tinubu directs NARCON to reduce 2026 Hajj fares. Okay, if it can be reduced, you can be, hard at the BRS minimum. Why inflated in the first place? Or does that mean this reduction mean there will be subsidy for them? Because that's one thing.
The question is, what would be the economic benefit of that if you're subsidizing Hajj fares? What economic benefit would it be?
I think that answer,
religious pilgrimages generally,
can be given by a 4-year-old.
So why should the government be spending? Femi, why should the government be spending public funds on subsidizing religious pilgrimages in the first place?
Yeah, the federal government spent 90 billion on pilgrimage.
That's a total waste of public funds. Total waste.
And here we go again, that they are telling them, Tinubu directing NARCON to reduce 2026 Hajj fares. Okay, let's see. Is it because if it's reduced, government will subsidize, or they don't have to subsidize, just reduce it? We'll wait to see. On 2027, lawyer urges court to stop Jonathan from contesting. Really? And more controversies over minister's certificate saga. That is one messy one going on right now. The Minister of, I think, Science and Tech.
Yeah.
Mr. Naji.
The University of Nigeria and Nsukka.
Yeah, Nsukka have said, okay, you attended our school, but you didn't graduate. And the man said, yes, I didn't say that.
Yeah, he said he never claimed he got certificates.
Yeah, so that's the issue.
So what has he been practicing with?
The thing is, the thing is this, as a minister, the Code of Conduct Bureau, we ask for your everything and all of those things. Did you declare that you are a graduate.
Exactly.
Because the barest minimum you can have is SSC certificate. And it's for you to even attempt.
Absolutely.
That's the worst part.
You don't have to
operation.
pass.
You don't have to pass. Just attempt that. You don't write that before. That's just the thing. And even the president, that's the requirement for him.
Absolutely.
Number one, the one that will dictate everything in this nation, all he has to do is to attempt SSC. And he doesn't have to pass. Even if it's 4 subjects, F na L through, just attempt.
I should have contested the presidency 20 years ago.
All right, but the thing is, if actually, as a minister, he submitted credentials that had him say he's an holder of a BSc and he got his certificate from that institution, then that would be lying on that oath.
Absolutely. And I guess, thankfully for him, I guess he did not tender any forged certificate, but that would have been another question entirely. So I guess he never tendered a forged certificate, but that would have been a serious criminal offense. Now he's saying that he never said he graduated.
But then the interesting part is this. He went to court seeking some prayers. And I think the court granted like 2 or 3, but the one that
they should stop the school from releasing his records, academic records.
Release his records. If you have nothing to hide, why are you telling me?
Maybe he's just ashamed. Femi, maybe he didn't do so well, and he doesn't like people saying this.
Obviously, he started the school incomplete. But if you are saying, court, tell these people not to release my results. Okay, so what is that? And he's supposed to be the minister in charge of science and technology.
Oh boy, science and technology. Oh no. I'm so much passionate about science and technology, so it breaks my heart when I see this happening to the Minister of Science and.
All right, we'll wait to see
we can do better.
What will really happen, and that's why they say sometimes, not just in this case, that we allow the worst of us to rule the best of us, the rest of us actually, because for people that have good certificate, you have gone to school, you have done all of those things, and you are running away from politics. Well. The only thing you'll be doing is to be speaking grammar, actually.
Absolutely.
Others that are interested, that might not be as qualified as you, will be the one dictating the pace for the rest of the country. That'll be all from the Nation for today.
And from the Nation newspaper this morning, we move to the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust newspaper, parties, president shouldn't appoint INEC chair. Parties, President shouldn't appoint INEC chair. Now, the Nigeria's registered political parties under the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, have proposed the creation of an independent body to appoint the chairman, national commissioners, and secretary of the Independent National Electoral Commission. We've talked about it right here on this platform, that it doesn't really make sense for the president to be appointing INEC chair. If we are truly concerned about transparency, then Mr. President should not, be appointing INEC chair, because he's a human being. You do not expect him to appoint someone who he doesn't like.
And he's an interested person.
Absolutely. He has vested interest.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a player in the game. So assuming he's not even contesting, assuming he's done, assuming he's in second term already, that might be permitted, which is still not right, because he might still have interest. Perhaps a godson.
He should not even be allowed.
Exactly. So he shouldn't be.
His party will still contest for
That's
election.
the point. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the point. I think this is a good development. An independent body should be made to appoint INEC chair. We looked at various, factors, various methods that can be used. The judicial system, for instance, they should be able to do that for Nigeria, together with the National Assembly. But unfortunately, some public affairs analysts will say the National Assembly belongs to Mr. President
National
already.
Assembly?
When they are singing on your mandate, right on the floor of the
No, I want to say Nigerians will say spears.
Exactly.
Better allow the president to just do his thing.
So this is quite interesting. I do hope they make headway with this. Mr. President, I repeat, should not be appointing INEC chair, and that's the opinion of many Nigerians as well. Away from the banner headline, still on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Senate to debate genocide claim against Christians in Nigeria. Senate to debate genocide claim against Christians in Nigeria. You find our story on page 7. But Femi, if you ask me, I think everyone is affected in Nigeria. As far as insecurity is concerned, Christians are being killed, Muslims also are being killed. But again, it's worthy of note that Senate, they've decided to debate this, because for some time now, we've been seeing calls, some people claiming that Christians are facing genocide in Nigeria. So if there are some things happening that we are not aware of, I think it should be investigated, and Nigerians should know if truly Christians in Nigeria are targeted, are facing genocide. And that's actually a good development. Away from that, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, 2027, court asked to stop Jonathan from contesting. 2027, court asked to stop Jonathan from contesting. Talking about former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Some people are so scared that he wants to contest. I have no idea. Femi, why are people scared that Mr. Jonathan wants to contest? Why? A lot of people have been calling on him. The other day I saw Jandor in Lagos calling on Jonathan not to contest. APC telling him not to contest. He should go and enjoy his retirement. Come on, what's your business? Why are they scared of someone contesting? Anyone should be able to contest. What do you think?
You just want to imagine those cryptic advice. They say, somebody who possibly stand a chance, just tell him, okay, you are doing well.
As if they mean well for him.
Exactly. You're an honorable man. Leave these people to do the rough for you. Just stay.
Quite interesting.
It's a base choice, actually.
Absolutely. You can read up details of that story on page 15 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Tinubu orders reduction of 2026 Hajj fare. Tinubu orders reduction of 2026 Hajj fare. You find our story on page 8 talking about reduction of Hajj fares. We hope, anyways, let's not go there again, because some people see religion as a very sensitive matter in Nigeria. Once you speak, some people can, they can go after you just because you said something. But again, it is what it is. What I said was that it doesn't really make sense. And I repeat, for us as a nation to be spending so much in subsidizing religious pilgrimages, whether it's for Christians or for Muslims, that's my point. It doesn't really make any economic sense. And that's the point right there. Away from that, moving to the bottom strip of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Shettima backs Dangote. NNPCL links gas scarcity to strike. Shettima backs Dangote. NNPCL links gas scarcity to strike. And that will be all from the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right. Away from that, let's see the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune for today. Alleged genocide against Christians. Senate moves to counter narrative may engage U.S. Congress. Alleged genocide against Christians. Senate moves to counter narrative may engage U.S. Congress, and also mobilizes members for nationwide strike. Here we go. Retired AVM Obreka dies mid-air on British Airways flight. Unfortunate there. Retired Air Vice Marshal Obreka dies mid-air on British Airways flight.
Retired Air Vice Marshal.
Yeah, dying on a flight. Now, court asked to restrain Jonathan from contesting 2027 presidential election. So much for the man, actually. And health. And I think everybody should listen to this, especially people at the other side of this room. Choking during sex can result in stroke, convulsions, even paralysis. Expert.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
That's why I say everybody, especially young people with interesting fantasies, should be aware that choking during sex can result in stroke, convulsions, even paralysis. Experts.
I hope the ladies are listening.
Okay.
Because sometimes they're the ones who ask for it. Choke me.
I don't know about that. Actually, count me out. But I think so many persons need these. It's okay to have fantasies, but then from the health angle, it's been reported that choking during sex
someone is laughing here.
can result in stroke, convulsions, even paralysis. Experts. Okay, that's a note of warning there. Be me the red alert button. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. And all right, same-sex marriage. Church of Nigeria rejects election of new Archbishop of Canterbury. All right, same-sex marriage. Church of Nigeria rejects election of new Archbishop of Canterbury. I saw that report yesterday that is like Nigerian Anglican Church trying to break away from that, and they won't be part of electing a woman archbishop who is gay.
Absolutely.
There are such high, position of the church, especially in Canterbury.
Nigeria stands against homosexuality. Has always been very strong. Part of what that's part of the reasons that actually affected Jonathan in his bid for re-election, for him to come back for the second term in office, because he took a stand and he said no to the US as far as homosexuality is concerned. Exactly. And of course, they wouldn't like him for that. He talked about how they actively worked against his re-election. Well, this is Nigeria. We don't believe in same-sex marriage. Homosexuality is a taboo here, for God's sake. So I'm not surprised to see a Nigerian church. Of course, they wouldn't accept that.
All right. Now, Pengassan, not greater than Nigeria, federal government. Pengassan, not greater than Nigeria. As from the federal government, and Tinubu orders reduction of Act 2026 fee, fire God's part of Rivers Secretariat. Here we go. I hope he's not politically motivated again now. Fire God's part of Rivers Secretariat and Top Street, a national convention. How PDP National Secretary may emerge. Stakeholders and OB challenges INEC to address certificate forgery ahead of 2027 polls. So that will be all from the Nigerian Tribune.
And from the Nigerian Tribune, we move to the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Punch newspaper, Pengassan fires back as Shettima defends Dangote. Pengassan fires back as Shettima defends Dangote. We have a couple of riders below that banner headline. VP wants labor union not to hold nation hostage. VP wants labor union not to hold nation hostage. Pengassan vows to repeat strike if members are sacked again. Pengassan vows to repeat strike if members are sacked again. Pro-Dangote protesters accuse Pengassan of sabotage. Pro-Dangote protesters accuse Pengassan of sabotage. You might want to read up details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving to the top strip. Insecurity. Tinubu to meet Council of State Police Thursday. Tinubu to meet Council of State Police Thursday. Talking about insecurity. Find that story on page 2. Petrol imports drop 8-year low. Petrol import, I tell that again, petrol imports dropped to 8-year low. And that's coming from a report right there. You find that story on page 25. 2027, lawyer asks court to stop Jonathan from contesting. You find that story on page 7. You might want to find out who this lawyer is who doesn't want Jonathan to contest in 2027. Away from that, Enugu Governor, Minister trade words over alleged certificate forgery. Enugu Governor, Minister trade words over alleged certificate forgery. You find that story on page 7 as well. And moving to the bottom strip, Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6 months suspension. Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6 months suspension. You find that story on page 8. Court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. Court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. You find that story on page 5. And finally, from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, ASU mobilizes chapters for October 13 warning strike. Academic Staff Union of Universities mobilizes chapters for October 13 warning strike. You find details of that story on page 3. Nigerians are quite tired of this. Not again, ASU, strike today, strike tomorrow. This is one strike too many, if you ask me. I just hope the federal government steps in on time to make sure that this strike doesn't proceed as planned. That'll be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. That also brings us to a conclusion of the newspaper review segment of this show. We'll take a quick break. And when we return, we dive into critical conversations. Join us again.